Yeah, stream. Hey, Noodles, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Everybody can hear me all right? Awesome. Sweet. Yes, a random stream. I'm actually doing oxygen not included because, as the description says, the game's about to come out of early access, basically, and become an officially released game. And so I wanted to go over the changes they made in celebration of that. Yeah, it's because I kept having to shuffle them. That's why there were two in sync. But I thought this would be a good idea to have it like this for now. So this is the people I'm choosing, so let's hop on in here. Okay. Get that started. Yeah, it's a live review. So, there's a lot of stuff that has changed in this game, and I'll pause real quick here just to, oh, hold on. I'll pause here real quick to kind of go over it. So a lot of things have changed in this game, and it's kind of nice. It's some of the things are really nice, some of them are really bad. So I'm gonna go over what I think is nice and what is bad. For starters, a lot of the beginning areas has some new stuff that can happen. Like, for example, one thing I've noticed is that they tend to kind of give you less metal ore to work with when you start out, instead of like it used to be you would start a map and like you'd have a whole lot. So it actually kind of slows you down a bit, which is nice. It actually makes you have to work to get stuff. But also they changed a lot of the expanding the horizons. No, I'm not really a pro reviewer. I'm just kind of going over stuff that I've noticed in the game that I like and stuff that people have said they like and dislike as well. So one thing that people say they dislike is this right here, where if you go into your vitals now, instead of before, where there used to be an immunity system, now they just automatically just have either no disease or a disease, whatever they decide to catch, which in some cases it could be anything from food poisoning to slime lung. And it used to be some of those had like death sentences and stuff. So it's kind of nice because a lot of the sicknesses are no longer deadly, but at the same time they still cause debilitating side effects. So yeah, that's a good start for now. The AI is still pretty much the same. The characters won't do like direct tasks that you try to tell them to do or anything like that. They still have no system for that. To get them to do a task that you absolutely want them to do, the only way to do it is to put it in top priority, which is yellow alert. And that's kind of annoying. Anyway, I'm going to take a break from reviewing to say, how's everyone doing today, by the way? I know this just kind of came out of nowhere. okay, but pretty tired. Yeah, I hear you there. Um, I've been pretty tired myself lately too. I don't know why, but I haven't been sleeping that well. Thankfully, I caught up a little bit um, last night. Sleepyheads. Hey, that's just life in a nutshell, though. Oh, that? Yeah, let me just jump into the thing that has been pissing people off. I haven't actually watched the trailer, but from what I've seen of like pictures and stuff, it looks stupid. I mean, honestly, there's no nicer way of saying it that it looks stupid, to say the least. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tribe, but I have to admit that that's one video that I didn't want to watch because I knew it would just be full of cringe. Now I have no plans to watch the movie. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I guess that's a good thing though that they're at least listening to the like quote unquote fans instead of being like, screw these people who are talking shit of our movie. We're just gonna say, to hell with them, you know? Yeah, I've heard different things about Endgame. I haven't watched it yet, but I have heard that some people were disappointed with it. In some cases, like I haven't heard that a lot, but some people were kind of confused about it and stuff like that. Oh yeah, making fun of the fans is the way to go. Alright, now I need to decide on what I'm going to do next here. I have to admit that, like, this starting out in the game is always the slowest part for me. It always seems like there's just so much to do in so little time. Wow, that's a sad thing. When your origin movie just, like, hits the shitter and it's just like, alright, forget it. That's hilarious. Yeah, maybe we should try to move away from spoilers for a little bit. Guys. Oh no, Maddie, you're fine. I'm just saying, like, we could start getting into spoiler territory if we keep talking about this. The throne burst into flames. I mean, that'd be more cool than anything, to say the least. Oh boy, you guys. How did I know that this is the direction this was gonna go? Oh boy. Anyway, I think I'm gonna launch more into more things about this game. So another thing that's kind of interesting is that they made it where a lot of foods don't really like cause problems anymore, or at least as many problems as they used to. Um, for example, it used to be if you had them eat a certain food, like they would get sick immediately. Now there's only like a chance for them to get sick, which is nice. But at the same time, it still is a like higher than normal chance, I guess, for lack of a better word. Try has always been a troll like that, though. What's new? It's not mean if it's the truth. Yeah, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit so we can get this finished here, what they're doing. Hey, Elena, how's it going? If you only came by to stop to say hello, that's all. That's fine. Just saying hello to you anyway. Oh, I know I'm not great at this game. Trust me. The amount of times I've had to restart this game would prove that in its own right. All right, take care, Callie. Sleep well. I have no idea what you're talking about, Try, at this point. Okay. Oh, I'm sure. Trying to think of other stuff to talk about while I let all this stuff go on. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I never know what to talk about. You're right. Hold up. Alright, slow learner buff though. Alright. No, I will not talk about that. Try. That is a very stupid discussion to talk about. There's no reason to talk about that. That's just going to cause problems. Because all it leads to is like debates that nobody wants to have. It's just like a waste of time. All I know is I don't want to talk about it. Me personally. I mean, I really don't want to talk about it, but like, you know, Maddie, you're right. Like, the people who literally do believe it, like, do they just not realize that it's a troll? But that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. Like Tri says, there's no way that some of that stuff can be true. What people think. That's funny. The world is round, biatch. I'm gonna make one more of these. Then close off the room. Oh boy. Trying to think of some stuff that I can talk about. Why is this food outside of this? Like, What? Maybe they were trying to eat this and then they just left it there. I mean, I know they've done that before. That's another weird thing in this game. At least it does feel like you can better manage stuff in the beginning than you can in the later stuff. I do think it's funny that a lot of people, when they came out, when they said that they're gonna like come out with all this new stuff for this game, people said that they were excited because they were finding themselves to run out of stuff to do in this game. Because although like you can have like a technical, what you could call a completed of the version of the game, like, you know, after you learn every single research there is in the game, people still said that it felt like there needed to be more to this game and all that. And so they're very glad to see that the game's about to come out of, you know, out of, what am I thinking of here? Out of early access, so they can see what else is going to be brought up in the game. I think he is the bomb in keep talking and nobody explodes. That game looked like a lot of fun. I wish I would have tried that out, but I just never got around to getting that game. He's gonna die. I don't know why they do that. Perfect. All right. Oh yeah, if me and JP played that game, oh lord, we would blow up in no time, because we would just not like agree with one another, basically. No, JP's computer would just spontaneously combust anyway. We're horrible people. Yeah, sure you were, but I'm just saying, like, at the same time, I could see his computer just blowing up. It happens. What are you gonna do? It's part of life to take friendly jabs at your buddy's computer. Yeah, exactly, Maddie. Oh, cool. When's that gonna happen? I'm actually kind of excited. I also hope that he can get his internet provider to finally fix his internet problem too. Because I remember that was another problem he had. Alright, cool. how much food do we have left? Still got plenty of nutrient bars and muck roots, so that's good. They'll be able to survive on that for now. Money now? Yeah, he would never do that. Like, let's be real. Yeah, way to go, Maddie. Now you're just like feeding the shipper trolls. Honestly, I've never been a fan of shipping. I've never really understood it. I mean, I will say that when I used to read a lot of books when I was a kid and stuff, whenever it would have two characters that obviously had some kind of romantic interest, I would always like picture them getting together, but like I never actually thought like to take shipping seriously after that. But yeah, I never understood shipping people. I just think that that's ridiculous. Shipping people just seems like kind of like, yeah, a stupid thing to do because all it's going to do in the end is just piss people off. You know? No, like when you ship people together that like you believe should date and all that, it tends to make them, I don't know how else to put this, but care less about each other. Because I remember, I remember a lot of different ships that I heard about, and afterwards the like they couldn't even chat with each other without spurring some kind of debate in the comments about it, and it's just so sad. I don't know who Raylos is, I'm afraid, but no, as much as I don't want to bring it up, I'm talking about the Chugga Conroy and Misayanella ship that continues to exist somehow. Oh, I'm sure it's much worse than that. I'm just saying that's one ship that I know of that every time I see it, it pisses me off because it's just like, why do people continue to bring that up? You know? That's funny. I'm sure that's a problem with a lot of actors and actresses, though. I mean, that's just the way the world is, unfortunately. build this for later. I mean, like, I read these webcomics online, and people take those ships way too serious, too. To the point where the artists themselves are like, wow, you people need to, like, you know, relax a little bit. You're taking this way too seriously. I mean, I know some of them are just joking, but some of them actually make it very serious. And you just can't help but be like, wow, what are these people thinking when they say stuff like this? But yeah, like, shipping fictional characters is one thing. Shipping real people is just dumb as hell. I don't get that. Really? I thought you were a fan of Twitter. Though I agree, I don't ever use Twitter and I don't really understand it. Sorry, my bad. I guess I could have said something even more disgusting. I could say you have an Instagram. Just kidding. Instagram's not that bad. I don't use it, but I like to talk shit on it. Yeah, I'm glad I never got into Twitter. I remember back when I used to go to this one church. All my friends there at the time were like, "You need to get a Twitter account. You need to get a Twitter account." And I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, it's fun. And like you kind of get to post these fun little statuses and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "So like MySpace?" And they're like, "No, no, no, no. It's better than MySpace." I'm like, "No, it's basically similar to MySpace. Why would I want Twitter?" And now MySpace is dead. You know, it's like so funny. Another thing I've always loved to read is whenever people talk about things like Facebook and all that, and how they don't have a Facebook account, and people are like immediately like so shocked. Like, how do you not have a Facebook account or any social media account? Like, how do you talk to people and they say, "I use a phone," like a normal person? I always love reading stuff like that because it is just so hilarious to see into the minds of some of these people who take stuff like that way too seriously. It's like, you know, you could sit there and say 1,000 things as to why Facebook is so important, and people would deny it everywhere, you know, just because they don't want to have one, you know. Then again, though, it's not like they're wrong for not wanting to have a MySpace or, I mean, a Facebook, because like there's those. Yeah, I only got Facebook so I could see what my family was up to, like my extended family. Like when me and my whole family got Facebook, we only did it because we noticed that there was some family members that we hadn't talked to in a long time, you know. And so we really wanted to be able to see how they were doing and all that. And that was one convenient way to do so. was to go ahead and create a Facebook, you know. Yeah, you can always make private messages for it. It's always convenient for that. Boomer book? Why? For all the baby boomers on there? Is that what you're saying? I've never thought of it that way. Huh. That's interesting. I mean, like I said before, a lot of people don't like social media now because of all those conspiracy theories out there that was saying that, you know, it puts out too much of your information and all that. Which it does. I mean, let's be real. But I mean, people were saying that their absolute reasoning for distrusting stuff like that was things of that nature. I know, I'm just saying, like, just throwing that word out there. I'm sorry, but you know me, I tend to do that. But I just think it's funny whenever I hear the arguments as to why people don't get a Facebook. But I remember these stories I've read online where people tried to get jobs and they didn't have a Facebook, and just from that alone, they were denied the job. And I was like, wait, what? I was already demonetized. So that's not a problem. Oh, exactly. I agree. But yeah, we could go into a huge rabbit hole over this kind of information, really. Phew-wee. Well, I mean, if you want to go into that, you could also say about how a thing that's always been is that jobs will say they won't discriminate against age, right? Like they will hire anybody regardless of age or whatever, right? But then they will go ahead and hire someone who's younger, even if they have less experience, just because they're younger. And I mean, I don't know if that's still as common as it used to be, but I do remember that was a problem that I heard people had when they tried to get jobs and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, they do. I mean, if they can find a way to say that what they're doing is not wrong, then they could get away with it. And, you know, it's sad, but it's true. That's what they will do. They'll be like, I see nothing wrong with what I'm doing. And it's like, you literally refused to hire someone because they were 30 years old or something like that, you know? It's like, shh, that's not what we said. uh. Man, we put out a lot of theses out there today. Do you guys remember back in the day when they used to say if you didn't go to college, you wouldn't amount for anything? I still think about that a lot because it's just so funny how untrue that is. Like, I always love it whenever you read about people who were supposedly told that they were overqualified for a job. And it's like, how can you be overqualified for anything? I just remember back when I was going to, like, well, community college, um, the most common thing people said was that they were only going for business or nursing. And 9 out of 10 of those students dropped out. And it's just like, huh. And then they only go into business so they can become a manager at jobs like, retail or stuff like that, because having that business degree helped you look better for a management position, you know? And I'm like, how does having a business degree show that you have experience for being a manager? You know? Like, in one of my old jobs, I was told that before they would consider somebody who just like came in and had managerial experience, that they would rather have chose someone like me. You know? And I was like, huh. You know, it's just like one of those silly little things. But like, I always hear stories about people who try to go somewhere like, McDonald's, for example, after they finish their degree and enter degree here, right? And then the guy looks at their resume and they go, "Yeah, you're way too overqualified for this." And it's like, is that really a thing? And I remember hearing this story about this guy who went to complete his college degree. I forgot what the major was, but it was supposed to be only like a 4 year degree or something like that. Like, it should only have taken him 4 years, but it ended up taking him like twice that, like 8 or 10 years, something like that. And then he said that when he tried to find jobs in the that field of choice, they told him, they were like, "Why did it take you so long to, you know, reach this level of completion?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I was busy with, life, and I had to work up the money to actually finish my degree and all that." And they looked at it like, they basically made it sound like, what? you know? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, back to like nursing and stuff. I remember the funniest thing about nursing was like students would go into it and then they would be told, "Oh, by the way, you also need to go into like this class, this class, this class, and this class, and it's going to take years." And they would be like, screw that." It's like the funniest stuff ever. I'm just like, okay. Ooh, we can get a night owl. That might be useful. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pause the game there. And add new schedule. There we go. I always say that experience trumps books. Because, like, a person who's worked in a position for longer than, you know, someone who just came in will always have better, in my opinion at least, better ideas of how to fix certain problems than someone who just came in. Because then, like, the person will be like, hey, you know what we could do this, and this would fix a lot of our problems, you know, for example. But then they're like, oh no, we need, like, average doofus over there to do it, for example. Who wouldn't even know what they were doing. If I could start my own business, you know, I've always been afraid of that idea. I remember one business that sounded like a fun idea was a gamer bar. And basically, it would be just like an arcade in a way, except they would have like a really nice just bar area for people to sit in, like while in between their games or whatever, and just relax and chat. And it was just like fun little idea like me and my brother came up with, because like it would be a great place for gamers to meet up and chat and make friendships and stuff that they can't always do through the internet, you know. Oh, I'm sure it exists. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that already exists, you know. Oh shit, I forgot to move the person to the other. Oh well. Well, yeah, I guess Dave and Buster's is pretty similar to that, but like my idea for it was instead of just like having actual just arcade machines, you would also have like game systems and televisions and stuff, and like you could have like little land battles of like old games like Halo and stuff like that. You get your gaming consoles from Dave and Buster's? How's that possible? Oh, yeah, I guess you could win them as prizes, yeah. Makes sense. Oh, that's awesome, Maddie. That's cool to learn about, though. Must say, I'm actually impressed. But yeah, like, places like that, they need more of, if you ask me. I mean, I've seen places like that, and like, we have a couple in my hometown, but the only people who show up to them are couples. And so, you know, if you're looking to meet somebody, you know, you're not going to have very much luck because you're going to just run into a bunch of couples, you know, or something like that. And that was another thing. Like, you could have like singles night or something at a place like that, you know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. There's nothing bad about too many couples. I'm just saying, like, you know, the best place, you know, to meet somebody like a fellow gamer would be at a gamer bar, in my opinion. Okay. Oh shit. There we go. Problem solved. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys agree that that is a fun little thing to have. Like, I'm glad that places like those exist because I feel like it might encourage more social interactions with people. Ooh, there's a place I need to get to. He needs the singles ready to mingle. Let's see. What's another fun thing I could talk about here? I do need to eventually show off what skills do, but I need to get that research for that. Anybody here interested in camping? It's like a really fun activity. Not this. You're not a fan of camping, Maddie? You like the comforts of home and all that? Nothing wrong with that. I'm just curious. What is kind of camping? Is that like using an RV? That's called glamping. Yep, exactly. That's called glamping. That's not camping. Yeah, I understand, Maddie. I'm just curious. Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. That is not camping. Ugh. Maddie, you poor thing. My sister's the same way, though, so I understand completely. If she wants to go out... Oh, God. Well, no, you... What I like about my camping is that I buy this little fold-out cot thing. They're really nice, and they make it where you don't have to lay on the ground. Oh, I've heard of stuff like that, Try. Yeah. Yeah, that's happened to a lot of people, actually, I've heard. Yeah, Maddie, I think you would like glamping. Glamping is like literally where you get an RV that's like stacked, you know, with like a lot of fun things. And you just go for it, you know, basically. Oh. Oh, yeah. If you wanted me to say the true camping experience, it's called vault toilets. And yeah, you would not want to use them. They're terrible. Like, pretty much, a vault toilet is basically this, except in an enclosed room. And more often than not, they stink to high hell. Unless they have a fumigator, and then they smell decent, but they're still basically doing your business in a hole. I don't think I've ever had an actual broken bone. I've just like sprained a finger before, but like never actually like broke anything. Oh, guns. Yeah. Yeah, they always say that for a good apocalypse survival rate, you need guns. They say that one of the most common injuries is broken toe. So I believe it. It's like your toes and your knees are like the one thing that tends to bump into everything. Jesus. So many broken bones in my chat. Wow. Oh, I know. I'm just saying. Maddie, oh my god. I'm pretty sure I've never had a concussion. Thankfully. Oh my. Yeah, sounds like a really fun time. The only surgery I've ever had is a deviated septum surgery. And If I didn't have that, I would not be able to breathe out of my left nostril at all. So, I mean, guess that's a thing. Well, basically, the way my the septum in my nose was growing, for some reason, it was just filling in my left nostril until the point where I literally had a needle, like the width of a needle of breathing space in there. And basically, the nose and throat doctor I went to, oh, for God's sake. Anyway, the nose and throat doctor I went to, he was like saying, so you can breathe out of this, right? And I'm like, no. And they're like, really? And I'm like, no, like, even if I try, like, air just doesn't come through it at the time. And they're like, because, like, they expected me to just be making it up pretty much, because, you know, I was a lot younger at the time. They were like, there's no way that, and then they looked at it and they were just like, holy, like, they were just like so shocked with how thin the area was, basically. It's so funny. But, yeah, I got the surgery and they warned me, they're like, I'm sure you're going to have to come back for this. And I'm like, oh, yeah? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, mm-hmm. Sure enough, I never had to go back. So, I mean, can't really complain. But thankfully, that's the only surgery I've ever had to have. So I can say I'm thankful for that. Like, I can say that's probably like the only official time that I've ever actually been to the hospital, too. Except for volunteer work. So, I mean, that was really nice as well. Well, sure, but I mean, I don't count that really. That's impressive. Well, yeah, but I meant, never mind, try. I'm not even gonna bother with that. I mean, technically, that surgery, I guess, was at the hospital. Not sure if I would have managed with doing the rubbing a little dirt and spit on it trick. Oh my. Well, yeah, but no, yeah, you're right. Forget it. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. Whew, boy. So we've had the game play out for a while here. This is about the amount of time that I was planning on streaming for. So, I guess I didn't really do a whole lot of reviewing. We just kind of reviewed a little bit and then started talking to, um, you know, have some fun. But, I have to say, the changes they made with this game, some are good, some are bad, to say the least. I feel like, in my honest opinion, they I feel like they should bring back the immunity system, but keep the sicknesses the same as they have it. Because right now, with everybody being able to get sick easily, I just think that that's silly, you know, because it's just kind of odd that, you know, your duplicants can now just get easily sick no matter what. Like, all in all, I just think that it's silly that they came up with that. But at the same time, I guess it works. You know, it's one of those things where you sit here and sit and you think about it and you try to find reasons to hate it, but it just works. And so you can't hate it fully. It does seem like stress is like a lot less of an issue. It used to be like they could get stressed so easily. Now they rarely have stress problems unless you force them to do work that they don't want to do, and then their stress will go through the roof. The skill system, I wish I could show that, but I can't show it right now. Actually, I guess I can real quick here. Let me do this real quick. I'll switch to my other game real quick so I can show you the skill tree. Oh, wait. Does this one not have it either? Yeah, this one doesn't have it either. Okay, hold on. Here, this one will have it. So the skill tree works like this instead of it used to be called the job board, and you would set them up for a job based on, you know, any of these things. And they made it a lot more simple, which I kind of like, but at the same time, kind of against. Because if you don't put a hat on them, which you can do, you can say no hat on them, and then you'll have no way of knowing what job they have or what skills they help you with. Like, for example, any one of them that I have for cooking, I put a cooking hat on because I want them to only focus on that. Or if I have them for medicine, I put them on a medicine hat or whatever, right? One sink per toilet. I mean, the problem with that is you either have to do that or you have to line up the sinks like in a row, because if you don't, then they won't use them. I'm not doing a Seduce Me 2 stream. I don't want to now. I've kind of lost all interest in that game. But yeah, like the setup in this game for the bathrooms, you either have to do a setup similar to this, where you have a sink next to the toilet no matter what, or you have to have a setup where, like here, I can just build it for the sake of building it. You have to have your sinks set up like 1, 2, 3, not that far away. Um, um, Basically, like, you kind of have to have your bathroom set up like this, and then you'd have to make it where they can't leave this way at all. But I don't know how they could fix it. Like, have a communal sink type build. I mean, there's that. They could do something like that. But I don't think they plan to do much more in this game, they said. I mean, like, you could always set up sinks throughout the base as well, in front of different things to try to keep it from being a problem. No, it was never a communal sink. The sinks have always been a one-person sink. Like, when I first played the game, I don't think there was a system where everybody could use the sink at the same time. I mean, there might have been a time when I watched somebody play it that was a thing, but I don't remember it ever being a thing then when I played it. But yeah, it is realistic that a sink would have it where, like, even this one, like, look how big this sink is. 2 people could use this sink at the same time, technically. Oh, I know. I know what you mean, Maddie. You're saying that, like, the sink should be able to be used by more than one character. I mean, I honestly, but that's another thing that's kind of annoying. If you make too many sinks and too many bathrooms, you can't take advantage of the room bonus, because your maximum size for your room is 64 tiles, and you can only fit, like, I think it's 4 toilets and 4 sinks for that. But like, see these bathrooms here, like this one here and here, like, this is what the game made it sound like they wanted, but you can actually make a room with 2 bathrooms like this and it's fine. But because the AI would rather just not wash their hands if they can't get to a sink, it doesn't make any sense. But I think it's funny because not many people complain about it that I've heard recently. Oh yeah, and also there's another, oh fuck, I didn't mean to do that. There's another really funny thing about this. There's this cool slush geyser that I found in this, and it just keeps making polluted water go all over my base. And that's the main reason why I stopped this one, because I would have to fix that. And it can't be fixed. But yeah, at first when they did this skill tree system, I was so against it because it looks so weird. And yeah, it's simpler, but I mean, there's just so much on it that I feel like they don't include. Like, for example, now when you go into priorities, if you want someone to be a chef, you have to do it like this. You have to tell them they can't do anything else but cook, or they will try to do everything else besides cooking. And it used to be if you hit up on this again, they would make it highest priority. Like, you know, like they're required to do it when they had the job system in place. But now that the job system's not in place anymore, that doesn't exist. And so you kind of have to tell them, okay, don't do anything else but this one job that I want you to do. I know, Maddie, that's exactly the way it feels. It's like, I don't want you to do another thing unless it's this. And it's like, that doesn't work. I mean, that should not be the way to tell your team to do something. Like, I've always loved what Try says that he says that you should do. You should be able to click on the stove and say, I want somebody working on this from this time to this time, no matter what. Like, does not matter what other chores that they are supposed to work on. Like, you know, they have this whole chore list. And one thing that's so insane is that, like, you'll come back to one of, like, the old ones here, and it says cooking. They had 24 that they were supposed to do. They only did 21. Yeah, the just effing do it button. But that's why I wish they would make like a scheduling system or something where you can be like, hey, during this time to this time, I want you to only focus on this particular job. And then make it from like the priority list. Say you want them to do cooking. Okay, you go into the schedule, and there would be a schedule somewhere that says, like, for example, like you would click work, but then like you could, I don't know, right click it or something and say, during this time, this work job is what I want you to do. But, you know, I don't know if they just feel like, let's try to make it simple but not simple, you know, to add challenge. Like, I don't know how else to put that, but like that, even though it makes no sense. Exactly, Maddie. I mean, because you can tell your prisoners exactly what you want them to do every day. Like, if you want them to stay in their cell, you tell them to stay in their cell. If you want them to go eat, they go eat. I mean, it's simple. In this game, it's like, I want my genetically created character to go do something, and I have a move to option. But even if you tell them to move somewhere, all they do is walk over there and then go and do the thing they want to do. It's like, wait, what? Like, that defeats the whole purpose of telling you, hey, I want you to go here. And the same thing would happen in the game Roller Coaster Tycoon. It's like you would have mechanics, and like there was a ride that needed fixed, but if you tried picking them up and putting them in front of that roller coaster, one that was on the other side of the fucking map would get the request after that. It's just hilarious, to say the least. The kind of things that you have to, like, the kind of hoops you have to jump through for this. Hey, sup, we're actually just having some fun talking before we end the stream. I'm surprised you showed up. We're making fun of some of the stuff in this game. Well, we were talking about toilets at one point, about how the system for toilets is you have to have a sink for each toilet, or else mayhem happens. Because the game system doesn't take into effect that the duplicant should be like, well, I need to wash my hands. I just went to the bathroom. You have to force them to do it, basically. But yeah, there's that. And then there's like this whole system where to tell them to take a shower, for example, is kind of funny as well. Because, you know, you have this time where like they have the bath time. And even if you make the bath time like really long, they'll just go idle during it. Like they won't do anything because they're just like, oh, I could take a shower. Because like say the shower did have water in it. I could take a shower, but I'm not going to because I just don't feel like it. It's like, what? No, that's bull. I mean, that's a problem in Prison Architect as well, though. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying about that exactly. I will bathe in my own gloriousness. Yeah, exactly. And another thing, I like how they want you to like explore, you know, so they keep this area unknown. But it's like if you just keep going up forever, um, it's like you get lost if you keep going into it until you go back down. And it's not like you can just have them go up there because eventually they will reach the surface and then die if they make it out to the surface. Oh yeah, don't worry. I was only playing this game today because I really wanted to talk about some of the stuff and just kind of have a kind of easygoing stream. I'll probably the next stream I do is probably going to be Mass Effect or trying to think of the other game I wanted to stream. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I do need to get back to Mass Effect though. But yeah. More than anything, I think the silliest thing they added was the top priority option. Because if you put everything in top priority, like say you really wanted this digging job done, it'll wake them up. It wakes up every duplicant, even ones that have nothing to do with that job, and they'll just stand there and like freak out while they're trying to figure out why the siren is going. But anyway, I think that's the gist of everything I wanted to talk about because that's the biggest complaints that I have, for lack of a better word. But yeah. But yeah, there's the launch date of when this game comes out of you know, what do you call it? Whatever. Forgot the name. My official rating of this, I would say like overall, um, I would say just gameplay in general. Let's say I'm gonna say out of 5. I would say it's like a 3 out of 5 because like I've said, a lot of the stuff that you can't control is just kind of a pain. um, I would say like the sense of accomplishment though, whenever stuff does go your way, is rated pretty high. Like that's definitely 4 out of 5 because it it's really nice when everything just starts to like flow nicely, but you have to do so much work to do that in this game. But basically, just to get this like long story short, I would say that overall, with how this game, like how much I've played of this game and how much I like enjoy, but at the same time think is silly, um, I would say that I would rate it 3 out of 5 because it's just like there's just so much in the game that makes it more difficult than it needs to be. But I still enjoy playing it. I'm not gonna lie. If like I wouldn't say that it's really a streamable game anymore. Like it's just one of those games that you can kind of just play for fun. You know, things go wrong, whatever, it happens. I don't know. I'm just saying. Out of 69. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream. I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys look forward to the next stream that I do. It will most likely be Mass Effect. So till then, everyone. Bye.